morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's Duchenne Method Mind-Body Alignment Live, where I attempt to demystify the mind-body connection and so that I might offer you tools for you to use in your daily life in order to achieve optimal health. And one of the ways that we do it here together on these lives is that we acknowledge one another through engagement and support. And we do this, I call this our sacred circle of creation. And so if you're here this morning and you want to say hi, I'd love to see you say hi in the comments. It's always fun to see who's here. And that's a big part of why I do these lives, is so that we can communicate as a group, so that we might be able to support one another and communicate with one another through the chat. So good morning. Hello. We have Elise in the house, just back from the Vermont mountains. How fun, Elise. Oh my gosh. So this is a great class, right? Probably you're feeling your metabolism, feeling very centered and aligned. Whenever we go away and we spend some time in nature, I feel that it really helps us to get balanced. So good morning, Elise. I'm delighted that you're here. Hello, Sophia is here. And maybe Pranjal is here. And also Sebi is here. Good morning, everyone. It's morning time in New York, but it's also afternoon and evening in other parts of the world. So I'm so excited today to share with you an important topic around getting our metabolism, getting our, our stress levels balanced, and also being able to increase our energy levels. And specifically in the framework that I'd like to invite you in today is around how do we practice becoming more, practicing acknowledgement in our lives towards ourselves, but also towards others. So there's the acknowledgement piece. And then from there, how do we engage in a way that is healthy for us, that is proactive without burning us out? Because I've really noticed since COVID that, in my practice, I can see for a lot of my clients that there's still, there is still a deep sense of instability that is felt on an energetic level. COVID has really shifted the way we are in the world. And so this engagement piece, I find, is so important in order for us to be able to rejuvenate ourselves from engaging, and at the same time to be super mindful not to deplete or burn out. And engagement is also about engaging with ourselves, right? Learning how to speak with ourselves from a warmer heart of compassion, and to really be mindful of the type of language, our inner voices, and what we tell ourselves on a daily basis. So this is the engagement part that I want to go a little bit more deeply in today. And finally, support. How do we support each other, one another, oneself in a way that is healthy, that is mindful, that is kind? And again, when we move into a layer of support in our lives, that means that we also expand beyond ourselves. It's not always just about us. And we are really finding this to be true in the world. Just recently, and still, the big fires in the province of Quebec and throughout Canada really affected the air quality in New York City, for example. We really received a lot of that smoke in New York City. And so then you really get to see and realize how dependent we are on one another. And it's becoming more and more obvious, isn't it, as we are globally getting closer to one another, whether it's virtually and also through Mother Nature. The fires in Quebec completely affected us in New York. So my invitation into looking at how we support ourselves and each other more effectively is in looking beyond ourselves. We support ourselves, and then what can we do for others? How can we support others in a way that is loving and kind, tolerant, and patient? And within all of this, of course, I am going to invite you to look at mind-body alignment techniques. Because if you're healthy, comfortable, if your metabolism is working proactively, if you are in a good frame of mind, becoming someone who acknowledges, engages, and supports in his life, her life, in your community, becomes all the more facile, easier. You actually have more space to be benevolent if you yourself are feeling more aligned in your own bodies. So I hope that this makes sense. I'm just looking at the chat here for a moment. Okay, great. So please interrupt me if you have a question or if something doesn't make sense. I really want to be able to help you beyond just what I'm sharing, but also to have you engage and share with me. So first of all, let's look at strengthening our metabolism. How do we strengthen our metabolism using mind-body alignment techniques? Also, how do we minimize stress? And if we're successful at balancing ourselves, then inevitably what happens is we increase our energy levels. And so if we follow the guidelines of acknowledgement, engagement, and support, let's begin by breaking down what does acknowledgement mean and why am I using this 3-step system? The reason I'm using acknowledgement, engagement, and support as the foundation for my work, for my mind-body alignment program, for my coaching clients, for my Heller work clients, because what I have found out over decades is that if we begin with acknowledgement, and I really want you to start to explore this in your own life. If we begin by acknowledging ourselves, it immediately helps to regulate our nervous system. So if you're feeling a little nervous, apprehensive around something, and you simply pause for a moment and you go, okay, I'm checking in with my body. How am I feeling about this? Does this feel right? Does this feel good? Does this feel in alignment with who I am and what my beliefs are? That's step number 1. If you can take a moment to set yourself, to center yourself through acknowledging how you are feeling in the moment, this immediately helps you to regulate your metabolism. So, taking that moment to acknowledge, and I'm going to take it one step further, to acknowledge and accept your current state of metabolism, your current state of stress levels and energy. So those 3 points, when you check in, you are establishing how is your metabolism feeling? Are you feeling anxious? Are you fearful? Are you nervous? And if you also check into your level of energy, this is so important, because if we are in touch with our energy levels and how we're feeling, it really helps us to make better decisions. How many times have you made a decision quickly when you weren't really balanced within yourself, and you got engaged with something, or you went to an evening, you went to a party or a gathering, and you really weren't feeling it? And after the gathering or the party, you feel it in your body. It has depleted you. This is what I really want to emphasize, to become more and more aware of oneself so that we're not making decisions that tend to deplete us, to be super mindful. And again, we come back to the heart space and to pause and to really focus on what it is. How are we feeling? What is the next best step to take? This also includes your level of intuition. If you start to listen to how your body is feeling with more appreciation, with more pause, intuitively, it will tell you what's the next step, what you should take, which direction you should go. And this just is incredibly soothing for us because we tend not to run into things. We take our time, we pause with more deliberation. And in so doing, we end up making better decisions. And what does making better decisions do for us? Well, it helps us to increase our energy level because we're not wasting our energy in doing things that don't serve us, in saying yes too quickly. How many times have you said yes too quickly and then realized, oops, this is not what I really want to do. This is not where I really want to be. Does this make sense? Give me a 1 or a yes in the comments if this is making sense, if you're tracking so far. All right, my friends. So acknowledgement also is about recognizing our negative or unhelpful patterns. Recognizing our negative or unhelpful patterns or behaviors that contribute to us feeling depleted. So, this first part, this acknowledgement piece, if you integrate it into your daily life and you start every conversation with yourself or others by beginning by acknowledging yourself, you really take a moment to set yourself in a centered space, which then affects everything else that you do. Also, if you acknowledge yourself from this space, you will tend to avoid self-criticism, self-judgment. You know this to be true if you have children, right? And if you're triggered by something, excuse me. If you're triggered by something your child says or does, and you're not centered, the tendency is that you might react more quickly than you really want to. So this level of acknowledging oneself to begin with really helps you with those internal voices and from you taking action that might not be in alignment with what you want to do. And then what are the benefits of acknowledgement? Well, acknowledgement helps you to create a foundation of self-awareness. And then that sets the stage for positive change, isn't it? So there's so many benefits to using acknowledgement. And how to become better at acknowledgement is really, it's about practice, isn't it? And within that practice, there are tools that we can use. There are practices that we can do, such as taking a moment to sit for 5 minutes every morning, to contemplate, to not rush out of the house, to not get back on that hamster wheel, but rather to be more mindful and present with yourself. If you start to do this and acknowledge yourself on a daily basis, what happens is it creates a healthier metabolic function in your physiology, in your body. Again, we're talking about regulating the nervous system, regulating the vagus nerve so that your central nervous system, your brain, can communicate more effectively with your gut and with all of your organs. So if you're feeling that anxiety or fear or impatience in your body, something's going on in your life that is supporting that is telling you that's a sign, isn't it? So the benefits of practicing acknowledgement is really that you can start to release stress-related actions and activities. It's all coming back to this sense of present awareness and embodiment techniques that I teach And I am certainly teaching in my 4-month program that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about in a moment. But to really start to understand what are embodiment techniques and how do they help us. Okay, my friends, I'm just checking the chat here to see if there are any questions. Elise says yes. Elise, I love that acknowledgement includes awareness and acceptance. Yeah, the acceptance piece is a big one. For a lot of us, we tend to struggle with acceptance, right? We can acknowledge, but then acceptance is almost like a deeper level of acknowledgement. Thank you, Elise. I appreciate that. So second, in my 3-step system is engagement. So once we've acknowledged ourselves, we bring ourselves to center, then we move into engagement and engaging in regular activity. For example, what we want to do with engagement on a personal level is clearly to get, what am I going to say? Of course, to get into movement, to become more active, physically more active. This is how we get regulated in our metabolic functions. If we don't move enough, we are going to suffer. Human bodies are made to move. And so we really want to start to understand the importance of movement in our lives. And last week I talked about movement. And what I was suggesting last week is to choose an activity that you might do that pushes you a little bit beyond your comfort zone. Because when you do that, you're actually increasing your metabolic functions. You're actually going a little bit beyond what's comfortable. And when we do that, we actually help to create a more efficient cardiovascular system, your respiratory system. It helps with drainage of your lymphatic system. So to choose activities that you enjoy and then going a little bit beyond what's comfortable in your physical practice. Also, engagement. When you get engaged with a physical activity, clearly that helps with stress management. You actually can release a lot, isn't it? How many of you have done an activity and after you've done it, you actually feel better? Because the endorphins, right? The adrenaline is going and you're actually releasing tension as you're doing these activities. So it's a combination of doing something that you love and seeing if you might go a little bit beyond. And another way to engage with the self, and we have been doing this successfully for almost, actually it has been 6 months, half a year of gratitude sharing on the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. Half a year, you guys. Thank you for being with me. And we journal. We basically share our gratitudes on the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. And that really helps us to stay in communication with one another. And it's fascinating, isn't it, to see what other people are grateful for. And not just that, what has evolved over the past 6 months in our group is that we are getting closer together and we get to share also what's not working so well. Sometimes we will start our gratitudes by saying, I had a really rough week or a really rough day and I can't think what to be grateful for. But because I'm in this group and I'm practicing writing my gratitudes on a daily basis, I feel better. And by the grace of God or the universe or the heavens, we actually can find things to be grateful for. That is the importance of practice. That is the importance of engagement. And finally, to engage with oneself in a healthy way is clearly to eat. Put things in your body that nourish you every single day. Try to improve the quality of what you put in your body. And notice when you put certain foods in your body or alcohol, or if you tend to smoke, and there's no blame, shame to any of it. All that I am suggesting here is a heightened level of awareness so that you might make better choices for yourself. And the underlying factor to all of this, of course, is resilience. You have to continue. And if you fail on any given day, that's okay. you get back up and you keep going, just like we're doing here every Monday. Every Monday, 11 a.m., we show up together and we have these exchanges. I share some information with you. I invite you to engage with me. So the benefits, right, of engagement, of course, in physical activity, right, stress management. And if you decide to increase the quality of your diet on a daily basis, that leads immediately to a healthier metabolism, reduces your stress, and of course, increases your energy level. So we have physical activity. Also, what I talk about and what we practice in my 4-month online and live program is we are going to uncover breath work practices together to increase and become more connected to our breath as a very fundamental tool in bringing balance back to our center. And we read about breath work. You might be doing some breath work exercises occasionally. The reason why I created the 4-month program is because it's a long enough amount of time for us to change our patterns to new habits, better habits. So it takes, right, you've heard that it takes about 21 days to change a pattern or a habit. Well, when you're in a group and you commit to a process, this is where it gets anchored in. Practicing by ourselves is excellent because we do need to continue to practice by ourselves. However, when you go through a program and you anchor a different way of breathing, learning new techniques of breathing, this is where the changes actually occur. So I really want you to take a look at my program and see, would this be a good investment first and foremost of your time? Are you in a place in your life where you want more support? You want to discover these new techniques? This is all cutting edge, new techniques, new research around fascia, fascial metabolism, understanding how fascia works in our bodies to create more health, more endurance, so that as we age, we become healthier instead of not. There are so many tools now that we can use to assist us in aging from a better place. And it doesn't matter how old you are right now. Everything that I'll be teaching you and that I'm teaching you on these Mondays are all meant for you to shift your habits and patterns into doing things that are healthier so that you might be able to deal and to age more gracefully. That's what everybody wants, right? As we age, we don't want to be sick. We want to be healthier. And this, my friends, this is how to do it. To join a group, to be with people who are doing these practices every single day. It's not a week-long practice. This is a lifelong decision that you're making by being here. You're choosing to move into the direction of ease. And the more you move into the direction of ease, the more your metabolism gets regulated, the better decisions you tend to make. And then, of course, if you're on that path, well, guess what happens with the universal flow? You get more into the flow of your own life. You feel more comfortable. Suddenly, your life starts to shift and change. Things start to take a different path. And this is not a miracle. This is because you are practicing this on a daily basis. Okay, so finally, we talked about engagement. We talked about acknowledgement. I broke down engagement. Now we're going to go into the third step, which is support. And the way that I want to invite you into supporting yourself better, more effectively, is through community, is by reaching out to people that you love, maybe making new connections with people in your life. But when we look for support, which is what I am offering here every Monday, It's what we are doing together every day on our Facebook group at the Duchenne Method. And it's also what I'm offering you in the 4-month online program. And there's an added component to the 4-month online program, which is a 4-day retreat from August 24th to August 27th in Quebec City at the beautiful Augustine Monastery. I'm offering a 4-day retreat to kind of jumpstart the online program. Because if you find yourself in an environment that offers this peace, this sense of connection, there's also practices of silence, of meditation, of prayer, where the food is top notch. So you get to be fed delicious, nutritious food that really helps you to reset your entire system within 4 days. And then we have a curriculum every day where we will be doing gentle yoga flows. We'll be doing somatic movement for you to become more embodied and to get to connect with yourself again through those 3 steps I'm talking about: acknowledgement, engagement, and of course, support. So the foundation for the 4-month online program and the 4-day retreat is all about support. So, we can find support through healthcare practitioners. Certainly, I offer support through my one-on-one coaching, also with my bodywork clients. And this is really important to be able to start to reach out and to see where might we be able to find support in our lives in a way where we can reach out and feel comfortable. And, that could also be your family network. Sometimes we get support from our family, for sure, and sometimes not so much. Sometimes our families are not the go-to to find support. And I want to say that that's okay. Sometimes our families, we can find ourselves being rather different than our family members, isn't it? So if you have a supportive system within your family, that's awesome. Also, learn within your family system when it's helpful for you to get support there and when it's not so helpful. Because not everyone is everything, right? So you can't go, let's say you're married, you have a husband-wife partner, and that's your husband-wife partner. And you start to, engage with them as maybe, more of a therapist, like someone who really listens to you having a hard day or you're having a rough time in life. And that person also becomes your kind of father, mother figure. This person also becomes your best friend. This person also becomes your lover. It's not easy to be in those types of multiple relationships with your partner. Your husband, wife, partner, there are boundaries to be had within those relationships so that you continue to have a healthy marriage or relationship. So that's what I mean by not everyone is everything to us. And this is where these types of these support groups, the Duchenne Method Facebook group, these Monday Lives, they offer you another experience of what support might look like outside of your family. So this is a really great place to come in, ask questions, share what you're going through. It's a little bit of a therapeutic circle, isn't it? So that we can be there for one another. So there's your community, there's your family, of course, there are friends, right? Making sure that you find the right support with the right groups to offer you accountability, to offer you encouragement, and certainly to offer you understanding. So my focus with this community building in the 4-month program and even in the 4-day retreat is to begin to bring people together in an environment where we don't necessarily know each other at the beginning, We're in this new environment where people might be strangers at the beginning. And within a very, very short amount of time, we actually build bonds. We build connections with people who are like-minded, who are also looking to improve the quality of their lives. And so the benefits here, what are the benefits of receiving that type of support? You know, we can find guidance in the most unexpected places. And you might have experienced this in your life already, where you had no idea. You went to a dance class or you went to a music performance, and you might have met someone at a dance performance, or even at a restaurant, sitting somewhere, and maybe you started to speak to someone. You were having coffee at a coffee shop and you started to engage with someone, and that person said something that touched you, that gave you a different insight about something else. So you see, when we gather together as a group, especially in environments that are safe, that are meant to support you metabolically through the art of mindful communication, through practicing mindfulness techniques. If we are in those types of safe environments where you trust the educators, where you feel that you are going to be taken care of because the food that you'll be eating is going to be amazing and it will help to cleanse you, this is where we want to invest our energy. Invest your time, your precious time, in joining support groups that are going to offer this for yourself. This is one of those groups, as you well know. And then, the benefits of being able to do that is also that you become more confident. Your level of confidence raises. You feel more secure with yourself. You stop double guessing yourself. You start doubting yourself. Your intuition and your sense of your gut sense, your relationship with your gut improves, because you feel like you've got your back and that there are other people in this community that have your back also. And community building is wonderful. And we're going to definitely practice this in the 4-month online program. We're going to have pods. You're going to get to know other people in this program. And you get to engage in meaningful conversations around topics that are all around mind-body alignment. You get to share your experiences, to share your thoughts and your challenges, because we can't do any of it alone. We need each other's help. We need to be able to see beyond ourselves in order to become really balanced humans, so that we might open up the blinders that we have, that we don't even know. Have you heard this expression? You don't know what you don't know. Well, how do we get to know what we don't know? We do that by joining groups, by being in relationship with other people that are also having a human experience, but they are focused on growing themselves from a place of loving kindness. You will find yourself in a group of people that are done with the self-sabotage and that are recognizing that self-sabotage is definitely part of how they speak to themselves, but these are the types of people that want to do something about it. This work that I am offering you, this program that I'm inviting you into, is for you to raise your level of consciousness, but also to fall in love with you more and more and more. Because, my friends, if we don't fall in love with ourselves, who are we going to fall in love with, right? To accept ourselves as we are, flaws, qualities. And when we join with other people who are on the same path, the growth factor exponentially goes up. because we're exchanging. And then you kind of realize, like, oh, I'm not by myself here. Other people are feeling this way. And of course, consequently, you're fostering this sense of connection, this sense of belonging, a support with a new community. And these communities last a lifetime. So, if you're really looking to improve the quality of your life, the way you communicate with yourself, that you are at a point in your life where you want to go deeper inside of your heart, that you want to understand why you behave or act certain ways that might be negative, where you can't seem to get out of the hamster wheel of self-criticism. This is the type of program that I have developed to help you move into growth from a place of compassion and loving kindness. The other way does not work. The push, pull, the trying to constantly do more, have more, be more. Believe me, I've been on that treadmill for a long time. And what I have found, this is why, again, I go back to the 3-step proprietary system. What I have found is when I acknowledge myself, when I pause, when I connect with me, when I engage in activities and thinking patterns and journal writing, when I engage in activities that nourish me, that feed me, and then I feel better, of course, about myself, but everything else in my life seems to fall into place. I am more supportive of my own decisions. I make better decisions, and I find myself making better decisions with whom I want to engage with. So the quality of my friends is outstanding. They are people who love and support me, and who also challenge me, who ask me questions. Well, Anne-Marie, maybe you should think about doing it this way. Maybe you should look at it from that angle. And that is extraordinarily important for me, because I get to grow. I get to engage in having relationships of trust with people that I love. My friends, does this make sense? I didn't look here for a little bit. Happy half a year of gratitude. Thank you, Sally. So I hope that this makes sense and that you're getting a little bit of an insight about what this program that I'm offering you is about. You can go on my website, artofalignmentacademy.com. At the very top, there's a little button that you can click that will take you to the workshop page. You'll have all the information there. And you can either sign up for the 4-month program only. That's September 6th through December 20th. And notice I'm doing it at the end of the year, right? So I'm doing this so that we might end our year strong, centered, with a new vision for what's coming, so that you might have options as to how to move into next year. But we have to prepare. We have to start a little bit earlier. So you can decide to join the 4-month online program. And you can also decide to join the 4-day retreat, which is August 24th through the 27th in Quebec City. And that's a live experience. And it's only for a very limited amount of people. I'm not doing a huge group. It's a very small amount of people. At the Augustine Monastery in beautiful Old Quebec. It's gorgeous. And if you do decide to come to the retreat, I would suggest you take a couple of extra days so that you might visit Old Quebec. It's absolutely gorgeous. You will fall in love with the French culture, with the food, with the people, and of course the monastery is extraordinary. And then if you decide to do the 4-day retreat and the 4-month online program, it's a continuation, right? It's a seamless continuation into continuing to deepen the practices of embodiment, of present awareness. We're going to cover mindful communication, how to speak with more clarity, with more honesty, and also a lot of mind-body alignment exercises about posture, What does your posture say about yourself? When you express yourself, how might you become more confident in your body by loving your body more? And then we're going to engage with one another. You're going to learn some very interesting somatic movement practices that help you to get in alignment every single day. You reset your metabolism every single day by doing these somatic practices. And finally, we're going to be in a group, right? We're going to be together. So we'll be supporting one another through these practices. You can find all the information, artofalignmentacademy.com. My friends, if you know anyone who wants to join us, please invite them into our Monday Lives. Have them visit Art of Alignment Academy YouTube channel where all of my videos are uploaded. Please subscribe to my channel. Please comment on my YouTube channel. If you have any questions, all of these actions help to grow my channel in the world. It's all about algorithms. And so I am working now in a different way with social media, with online practices to assist me in getting my word out in the world. And if you could help me to spread the word, I would be so deeply grateful. There are many free offers. I do these for free every single Monday. You have access to me every day on the Facebook group page, the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. And now we're moving into potentially meeting together at a 4-day live retreat in Quebec City, August 24th through the 27th. And then the online and live program, September 6th through December 20th. Please check it out. If you have any questions, I'm right here. You can reach me anytime. I'm very easy to find. Leave a comment on YouTube. You can write me a message. You can DM me via Facebook, Messenger, Instagram. I'm there. You can find me. I'm also on LinkedIn if you are on LinkedIn. All right, my friends. Thank you for being with me today. Please do not hesitate to share if you enjoy this content. If it's helpful to you, please go ahead and share with your friends, share on social media. It's the fastest way to get things out into the world. And I really hope to see you next Monday, where we are continuing to deepen our relationship with our metabolic functions and why these mind-body alignment practices are all created to support you in becoming healthier, in becoming happier, and in becoming more connected with your community so that you feel like you belong. What you have to say is important. It's important. You are important. So please know that you are always welcome here, and I hope to see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.